let's see what the next question is. Wow, guys, there are so many questions. Like, when will I ask questions that people have already asked? Okay, so is there any perfect timing to post on Instagram and get more engagement, or any time of the day works?
I say look at your insights. Your insights will tell you what days work, but also be willing to experiment with it, right? If you're feeling like, you seem like there's more active people at different times, try it out. Post at a different time. Put a few, run a few tests. Don't just do it once and then try to get your data from there. But try to do a few different experiments here and there. Always be testing is what I say on Instagram. It's like a big social experiment, right? So take a look. Maybe if you haven't been posting on weekends, try putting up a post on a Sunday afternoon and see if you're pretty pleased with the response. Maybe you'll learn that your audience is, they have a bit more free time on weekends, so they are pulling out their phone and engaging a bit more. So yeah. I say try it out, but the actual answer to that will really differ from business to business, niche to niche, and basically, especially when you have an international audience, it gets very difficult because of time zones.
Yes.
Right. So that's something difficult. But
but what I want to know is, I think that the insights that are there for the timings, are they in Pacific Standard Time? Because that's what it says.
They should. It'll either say, for me, it just defaults to my time zone. So mine are in Eastern Time.
Okay.
Because mine, I'll say 9 a.m. most weekdays, which is pretty consistent with what I've found as well.
Okay.
And also looking at a large portion of my audience is about 9, 10, even 12 hours ahead of me. Right. So it also works because my 9 a.m. is their 9 p.m. or their 8 p.m., which is still a decent time to have a bit of casual time to go on social media and kind of scroll. Yeah. So.
Okay, well, that's great. And I think this tip is very useful. When people wake up, they love to see comments and likes. So, so do your engagement in the morning. I think that works best. Mm-hmm. Okay. Chat me up with Tohi. We have answered this question, so I'll not be taking it again. Reels are not available in the UAE. So once the link is up, you can check the answer to this question. Okay, what else do we have here? What is the average reach on a post?
So that'll differ entirely by your account. Super quickly, you actually don't really want to go for reach as much. So I'm trying to reach around to my computer here. Reach isn't as important as your engagement, because your engagement will actually be what drives your reach. So let me just quickly...
Can you please say that on a mic? Because that's all we've been hearing these days. Reach, 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 reach. And it's so hard to get a good reach. So you heard it, guys. Reach is not that important.
So go for engagement, because engagement will boost that reach. I will just quickly give so Ninjalytics gives us a good benchmark, because it's all in proportion to your account size. And I trust what they say. If you have under 1,000 followers, 8% engagement rate is good. That means approximately 8% of those 1,000 people. I'm not very, can't do that math on the spot. What's that, 80 people? 800? I don't know. Yeah, I'm embarrassed
what
myself.
What did you say? 8%?
8% of 1,000.
8% of wow. 8% of 1,000 would be 80 people, yes.
80, okay. So really, so again, if you have under 1,000, let's say you have 1,000 followers or less, 8% of your community commenting and liking is really good. That's average or above average.
Okay.
As your account grows, the expectation lowers because you have more people and not everybody sees all your stuff. So super quickly, between 1,000 and 5,000 followers, you only really have to expect about 5.7%, 6%. Between 5,000 and 10,000, it's 4%. And then between 10,000 and 100,000, it goes as low as 2.5%. So as your account grows, your engagement will go down, but that's okay.
Okay, and that's what I noticed recently. Like I was at like 27,000 followers, and now I'm at 32. So my engagement went down, and I started panicking. But yeah, that definitely helps us. Thank you, Lucas. Okay. Wow. Okay, I am going to now get back to the questions that I have from my stories. Should you delete your old posts?
This is a good one. For a long time, I didn't. I always say never delete, but archiving is a good option. Archiving doesn't affect the algorithm in any way. And any post you archive, it pretty much hides it from everybody. Nobody can see it, except for you if you go into your archive folder. And the good thing about archiving is you can bring it right back anytime you want. by unarchiving it. And when you do that, it's not like it bumps it to the top of your feed. It goes right back to where it was.
Right.
So I always say that. And even along those lines, only really archive or delete stuff if you feel like it is, against your brand values anymore. Obviously, if it's something negative that you really regret, delete it, right? But occasionally find stuff that just doesn't align with our brand values anymore.
Yeah.
For example, a post that I archived, or I think I outright deleted it. You mentioned the question about deleting followers. I made a post like 6 months ago about how you should delete followers, ghost followers. I've deleted that because I no longer agree with that information.
Yeah, and that's what you just said. Yeah.
Yes. So those kind of things are worth archiving because you don't really want to have them there. If your brand has drastically changed its look and style, you can archive them. Although some people like to show their growth or their change over time, right? Yeah. So it's completely up to you, but I would archive instead of delete.
Okay, that is great. Why is there a sudden increase in podcasts, and how can businesses utilize this?
The big thing I would say, the increase in podcasts is because in a world where everybody wants quick to consume information, super short to the point, that's why Instagram's great because it's so fast, right? Podcasting is still probably one of the only formats where people will give you a lot of their time, right? Maybe it's because they're driving and they just want to listen. Maybe they're going for a jog or a walk or doing the dishes, right? Whatever. It's something that people will still be able to tune in for a long period of time. So it's a great way to get a really engaged audience, which is very unique. The only thing I would say for how businesses can utilize them, again, like going back to the shiny object syndrome, don't do it just because someone said. Only do a podcast if it feels right for you. If you find yourself to be an engaging speaker, you like speaking and recording yourself, or if you have someone on your staff who can do it and likes to do it, then it's a great opportunity. But podcasting more than anything needs consistency. People often say your first 30 podcasts will be, not too great. There'll be a learning process, which is important, but you have to get to podcast 31 before you actually see growth. So make sure you're really invested in doing it if you want to do a podcast.
And would you suggest like a very, how do I say, so I did a podcast recently with someone, but we had a lot of personal talk in there as well. And I just kept thinking, is the audience going to get bored? I mean, we're drifting away from the topic. So would you really suggest to not do that, drift away from the topic?
Sometimes those can be actually really great. And sometimes people will only tune in because they like that kind of personal deviation from the main topic.
Right.
But that's where editing really does come in for podcasting. Like, I would, and it can be very time intensive to edit a podcast like YouTube. You want to go through and just like anything that gets too off topic, cut it out, because if it's an opportunity for someone to be like, I've lost interest, I'm going to change podcasts, then you've lost them. So I would just be very cautious of that.
Okay, that is awesome. Now, this question is very important because I have personally gone through this, and you spoke about this recently. Everything's become a number game now. I think we kind of judge people by, this person has these many followers. Maybe he's better than me, or maybe she's better than me. And that's really affecting everybody's mental health in today's day and age. So how can people strike the right balance and still spend that time effectively on growing their social media channels?
I would say make social media fun, right? If you can. If social media starts to feel like it is too much work and exhausting and like a chore or an obligation you have to keep up with because you're afraid the algorithm's gonna put you out of its favor. It's like The Social Dilemma was a popular movie this summer on Netflix, a documentary, and it's for a good reason, right? Because it highlights a lot of things about how algorithms are designed to keep bringing us back and keep bringing us back, right? And algorithms work for Instagram, not for us. So make sure you just don't fall into that. I always say the most important thing, and this goes along with how often you should post or engage and whatnot, consistency you can keep over time, meaning whatever you can sustain for like 6 months or a year is always going to be better for your business in the long run than consistency that you can only keep up for 2 weeks, then you're burnt out, right? So that's what I spoke about yesterday, and the feedback on it was amazing, and everyone was saying, this is what I needed to hear, this was awesome. What I said was, if you're trying to post, every day, 7 days a week, or even 5 days a week, but 2 weeks in, a month in, you're feeling burnt out, it's feeling tough and exhausting, that's not the right routine for you. The right routine is something like 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can manage that on your weekend, you can prepare that, you can follow up, and because it's only 3 days a week, you can do that for 12 months straight. That's what's going to help you really grow your business, as opposed to those sprints of like 7 days a week for 30 days straight. So I say, do what you can do over time. And obviously, like you said, put yourself and your own mental health first.
Okay. Okay. Well, that is great. For someone who's starting out new, suggest 5 steps to get 10K followers.
Yeah, and I would kind of use this to bridge from the last topic. Don't let the comparison game be too much of a discouragement, right? Don't compare yourself to other people. I probably won't do these in 5 direct steps. I'm always bad at answering this one in steps. But what I would say is treat the people or the followers. That's why I don't like the word follower. Treat them like the real people they are, the real people you are dealing with, right? As soon as we realize that our goal is to connect with real people, we can see why engagement groups, buying followers, bots and all that stuff, we can see why they're a waste of time and money.
Yes.
Because if you owned a store, you can't buy customers to your store, right? You're not gonna pay someone to come into your store. Treat Instagram the same way. Give people a reason to come into your account or your store, right? Treat it like a store. Treat them like the people they are. Interact with them. I'm loving what I'm seeing in the comments right here. Patience and time. That is exactly what it is. I have really advocated for the snowball effect, or the momentum that really builds. Like I said, if you have to push a snowball, probably a good example for Canada, I don't know, we can relate to this. If you have to push a snowball up a big hill, it's going to be exhausting, it's going to be tough, and it's not going to be easy. But once you get it to the hill, if you just push it, it's going to roll down that hill and get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right.
And that's how you grow fast. A quick example, this is actually probably a great conclusion for me to end on, because a great example that I haven't actually said to many people is, for me, going from 0 followers to 10,000 followers took me 6 months of work, and being on Instagram almost every day was very exhausting. I wasn't taking care of myself as much as I should have, in hindsight. But 10K followers, 0 to 10K in 6 months. From there, going from 10K to 50K only took 2 months. On top of that, right? So I more than quadrupled my audience in only 2 months. But I couldn't have done that if it weren't for the 6 months first that got me to 10K. So the beginning feels slow. It'll feel slow. That's why make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you enjoy it. And from there, if you stay with it, consistency is what really scales and snowballs.
But what did you do in those 6 months that was, that caused it that caused your account to accelerate so fast?
I really made sure every post I was putting up, it wasn't just for the sake of posting.
Okay.
I was really, really analytical of, would I enjoy seeing this if it was on the feed, right? Would I swipe past it and just think, oh, Lucas is having a lazy day. He just put that up to stay consistent for the algorithm. Really, really look at it that way. Ask yourself, if you would see this as a consumer, would you like it? And secondly, as you are doing your own consumption on Instagram and looking at content, take note personally of what you like. What makes you stop and look at that photo, and start to apply those practices to your own content creation. Because again, you know your audience, you relate to your audience. If you are stopping and reading that content for a certain reason, chances are they probably will too. So apply those 2 things. And again, always be testing, always be reaching out to people. A common kind of more practical tip is, every new follower, send them a DM, introduce yourself quickly and say, I'm here to help if you have any questions. Great to meet you. And that's a good way in the beginning to kind of start those connections and those conversations.
Okay. So you would suggest that, after you reach 10K, is it really that important to reach out to every follower and, kind of greet them? It's exhausting.
After 10K, I wouldn't, no, probably just the first, maybe even the first 1,000, that's probably a lot too. Okay. But it'll be spread out. You only get a few a day. But yeah, you're right. So I found after 10K, you start getting double digits, maybe triple digits of followers every day. Right. And it gets difficult to do it, but your account goes through life cycles, right? 0 to 5K even, you have to do a lot of it on your own. Yeah. After that, you find, and you probably had a similar experience, you find that more people come to you instead of you having to get them first. Right. They're attracted to the high follower count, the algorithm, the explore page shows your stuff. So Instagram will help you once you kind of get everything in motion. Yeah.
That sounds good. And I want to tell from personal experience, when I moved to Canada in 2017, I think for a year I was pregnant and then I gave birth. So for a year and a half, I was completely off Instagram. Like it really hurt my account. I think I was not growing at all. But just this last year in 2020, I started, being more active again. And it was a boom of collaborations because I applied these techniques, engaging with my audience and actually responding to each and every comment and DM and everything that I was getting. So this is a great way to build your community. Okay, so you answered this. Should you delete your old posts? And I think I have just one last question now. How to effectively use IG shops and FB shops for e-commerce?
Right. And this is a good one too. If you have an e-commerce brand, or even, if you can sell something online, use IG shops. It is great. It unfortunately only connects with things like Shopify and I think WooCommerce. So you have to have one of those in place to be able to sync it up, which is many people who try like digital products, it doesn't work, unfortunately. But if you can, the best way, in my opinion, to sell products with IG shops, show pictures, show photos of people using your product, right? Okay. Show behind the scenes, or it could be a very visual style. Because I know we spoke about like food, and we were discussing some accounts earlier who have like really nice visual. That's fine too. Really nice photography can sell itself because people look at it and they're just captivated. So that's good too. But otherwise, photos of people using your product, even better. User-generated content, or UGC, is a common thing we see on social media. I think this is the biggest potential social media has for brands and businesses. If you ask your customers to send you photos of them using your product, right? Maybe like for a bakery, it's like, go home and take a picture of you biting into this cupcake or something like that. Or we love to see it. We love to see our community. You share it to stories with their permission, or you post it on your page. That is a great way to do it because people see that and they all of a sudden realize, hey, that could be me. I like this brand. It is based on community, and that's important. So that's how I would use IG shops. Tag your products and pictures of people using the products.
Okay, well, that's great. And we have a couple more questions. Sorry, look.
No worries. No. This is an amazing audience, I think, and we both have large followers counts, but this is still, even I would say, an unusually high audience. So this is great. So thank you to everybody for staying engaged.
Well, that's good for me
this
to
is awesome.
know because I'm learning so much myself. So thank you so much. I noticed that I get more engagement when I post about myself than things I love posting about. Okay, so what would you suggest to that?
Look at the other. So likes are one thing. Saves are one thing, shares are one thing, comments are one thing. Some posts that really get a lot of likes don't get a lot of comments. Some posts that get a lot of comments don't get a lot of shares or saves, right? So the best way to grow is to have a pretty diverse range of different metrics and calls to action or call to actions that you are going to be getting from your audience. So it might not mean that that type of content is what people don't want to see if you're getting other metrics that are coming in there. But that being said, if it's working well for your brand, then keep using those insights and post what people want to see, right? That's what I always say. Look at the insights that are coming in and let those kind of guide your content strategy, while at the same time not being afraid to try out new types of content along the way.
And, in regards to this question, I am going to ask something personally for myself. So obviously, I've been an influencer for the last, I did not grow out to be an influencer, but now I am, like, I would still say a small one. But when I post emotional stories, so for example, my son is developmentally delayed. And when I post emotional stories about him or my, how I as a mother deal with the whole situation and his therapies, I definitely get so much more engagement than when I post about a collaboration with a brand. But that's the whole point of my account, right? Like I want to monetize it in some way. So I have to post about my collaborations or, brands I'm working with. So how do you strike a fine balance between this so that people don't really get bored and say, oh, she's now just being a salesperson?
I think you gave a great answer, first of all, to add to that, because again, people, that's what personal branding is, right? It's the story. And what we want to do on social media is to be leaders by sharing those stories, because, right, you are sharing your experience, your stories that so many people can either relate to or learn from or like to hear about, right? And it just takes a leader who is willing to share that, right? So that is to answer that question from the other individual too. What I always say is a good rule of thumb is the 80-20 rule. Basically, 80% of your content should really be on brand, giving value, telling your story, connecting with your community, connecting with your audience, and then 20% or less. And based on how you feel comfortable, maybe go to like 10%, right? 80 to 10%, or sorry, 20 to 10% should be promotional or sponsored posts. If you do that, I don't think you'll give a bad impression to any of your audience. And also, stories are, again, a great way to kind of maybe put a bit more of those promos and sponsorships in there without feeling like you've drastically changed the direction of your account, right? Because like you said, the biggest thing is we're told we have to bring value, we have to bring connection, we have to bring community.
Yeah.
But we can't sustain any of that unless we are also having some income from it, right? Because Instagram is a full-time job. Like, it is so busy. And it's a difficult conversation with many people I have to have, where I have to say, like, you deserve to monetize your audience, right? It is all this value you are providing, you can only sustain it and keep up the quality if you are monetizing. So you deserve to do it. Your audience, your genuine audience, will realize that, and I'm sure they will support where they can. So I think 80-20 is a good split for that, without kind of changing to too much of a sponsored account or anything like that.
Okay, well, I hope that really helps me. Thank you. It puts me at ease.
Yeah.
But okay, so we have a question. Lucas, please tell me if you have to go. Yeah, like I still have good. Like an hour, but if you have to go, please do tell me.
This is a great audience. I'm happy to keep going.
What is the right metric to analyze your Insta?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna say he's already answered that, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I say shares. Likes are easy. Sometimes I just out of habit will double tap a photo without even looking at it and keep scrolling. Like, it's just like a habit, I find. Comments, again, can also still be done by bots and stuff. Saves. I hope I said saves at first, not shares. Saves are the best metric in my mind. If someone is saving it, again, going along with like Reels, we want people to come back to our stuff and rewatch it. If someone is saving your content, they're telling Instagram, this is valuable. I want more of this. I don't want to forget about this one. Instagram knows that, and also you should use that as a sign that this is great. One thing I will say, if you are posting pictures or photos of people, you are less likely to get saves. I think people just don't want to save pictures of other people in their folder, right?
Right.
So don't be too hard on yourself if you're not getting saves for that metric. In that case, I would look at comments and the authentic comments you're getting.
Okay, awesome. And so this is, again, a question for, I'm sure, which will help a lot of people. When you are reaching out to as an influencer, when you are reaching out to brands, what should be your pitching point? You know, how do you pitch yourself? Do you pitch yourself with just your engagement rate? Is it with your reach? What exactly should it be with?
And I actually watched a great live on this today, which gave me some insights as well. And the thing that was highlighted, my friend Phil Palin, he's great, and he brought on Jenny Melrose, who is an influencer coach. And what she said was, any kind of brand you're pitching to is less interested in you. They're interested in your audience, right? So whatever information you can give about your audience, like you said, engagement rate is definitely an important one. And that's the first thing they'll look at, which is another reason why I say, like, to people, don't buy followers and stuff, because brands can notice that right away.
Yeah.
They want to know about your audience. They want to know the demographics, how many potential people who are their target customer that they can reach through you, and whatnot. So really make sure you have refined your audience, you know your audience, and you are connecting with, circles and other accounts that are going to get you closer to your audience if you want to do that.
Okay, well, that is awesome. There are so many more questions. Okay. Do you think it's good to share secrets, or only in moderation, the career cup?
Is that, so that's just like sharing value, sharing education, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed the first part of the question. Yeah.
No worries. I say go for it. You will stand out by sharing your best information. The great thing is that if someone is going, even if your product or your service, let's say someone sells an ebook, right? That is an extremely well put together ebook. It's really well structured and it has all your secrets. it's okay if you've already released all those secrets on your account. Let's say I'm going to coach someone on social media and charge them for it. Or let's say I'm going to make a course that is all about social media, Instagram
You
growth.
should. Everyone's going to buy it. I'm going to be the first one.
I've tried. I like teaching. I don't like making courses. I don't know, but maybe down the road. But for example, if I were to do that, all of my information in the course would be on my Instagram page for free. But what people pay for is the structure. They like the format, yes. Right? Maybe it's an ebook. They like how you've put it chapter by chapter, so they don't have to go in and look. And if the cost is worth it for them to find everything, they'll definitely be up for it, right? So definitely give your best secrets, because that's how people come to trust you and like you. And that's how they're going to end up buying from you in the first place when you do sell something. So I say go for it.
And Lucas's profile is a great example for that. And the way he communicates with his audience is actually a great example for that. Like, he gives away so many of his tips and secrets that you would probably think that this is an ebook in itself, you know? Okay, so I'm intrigued by how you and other influencers continue to grow your knowledge about the platform. Could you suggest platforms we should be learning on through?
I always say find the platform that your audience is on and that has a communication style that works for you, right? We know that most of the world is on YouTube, and people ask me, like, Lucas, why aren't you on YouTube? I personally just don't like creating that format. I don't like the longer form video style. I don't think I'm good at it personally. I'm not ready to learn it yet. So I say every platform has potential. Know the audience there, right? Obviously, TikTok has a very different average audience, I guess we'll say, or average audience demographic than LinkedIn, right? Especially in age and whatnot. So know the platform. Instagram is why I focus on Instagram particularly, because it's a pretty safe call. Most of the world is on Instagram. Yeah. So you will probably find most niches here, which is great. So I say try to stick to one platform. There will be people saying, like, be on these 5 or else you're missing out. It's not true. I say find what you do best, really grow there. When you're ready, then you can look at branching off to other platforms in a capacity you're okay to do.
Okay, so I hope that answers your questions. And what's the limit on likes and comments?
I don't know if is that probably per day, or there's no limit on how many you can receive.
But how many you can put out there? I think in a day.
It can hit like 80 to 100 or so, I think. I always say, as a rule of thumb, if you are getting to a point, and it's different on your own post, Instagram will let you usually put more on your own post, because you want to, and I always say reply to all the comments you get. Even if someone just puts like an emoji, right? Reply to it, say, thanks, what'd you like about it, or something like that, right? Encourage the conversation, give people chances to talk. In terms of outgoing comments and likes, if you are hitting the point where you are, capping out or maxing it out, really look at how authentic those are, because you might be overdoing it, right? Instead of going for those maximums and the quantity of it, go for quality, and maybe spend that time more wisely, leaving 15 comments that are really personal, really going to leave an impression on that person. That's probably a better way to grow and get more followers than going for 80 likes and comments on 80 accounts in that much time.
Right. And I have one last question here. So she's a mommy blogger and a food blogger, and she has asked that what kind of tips would you give her to grow, because she's got 2 different kind of niches, and also in terms of target audience and audience attention, like what would be her best strategies?
And that's a great example to look at, because even though those are 2 very different niches, we can definitely see the overlap, right? There are tons of individuals who are mothers and, love food or love to cook or bake, whatever kind of food blog it is. There are so many individuals who fit into both those categories in a way of overlap. So I say definitely use both of them. Keep them all on one account. Make it about you, the individual who is behind it all, right? And really just think about how you can create content that appeals to that audience in that way. I always say find content pillars. Content pillars are basically, you have 4 or 5 common topics or themes you go back to. So for a mommy blogger, for example, maybe one of those pillars is recipes, right? You take a bit more time to make a nice value-packed carousel, which has a few slides of a recipe in the process. Maybe another one is a video of like, a behind the scenes of a quick meal or how it comes together. Maybe that's a reel. That's two different kinds of content. Maybe one is, just tips and tricks as a mom, things that make your day flow a lot faster. Maybe things that your kid loves, anything like that, right? That's a third pillar. Again, just going through, find your 4 or 5 common themes and then rotate through them and keep going through it like that. That's going to be a great way to make sure you are appealing to both sides of your niche as long as you create content and whatnot without kind of changing too drastically. And from there, I think you can definitely build a big personal brand on that.
Okay, well, I hope that answers your question. Oh my God, Lucas, we've got more questions coming in. Guys, this is never going to end. And I soon have to go pick up my son from school. Okay, well, this is an interesting one. I think we should probably end it with this.
Sounds good.
How do you maintain that sexy
there
hair,
you go. Yeah, and so on that note of personal brand, right? This is the funny thing that I'll kind of end it with. Someone told me today, and this was the influencer coach. She said, that's the cool thing about personal brands. And she used me as an example because I was in the audience. She said, Lucas talks about Instagram growth, social media. He could probably make affiliate deals or sponsorships involving that. But so many people talk about his hair on lives and stories. He could arguably make a case to brands and say like, hey, I use your product. Can I let's do a sponsorship or something like that. That is the cool thing about a personal brand. Make it about you, right? Make it about what your audience likes, and maybe it's humor that kind of does it. Maybe it's a common identity. Make it about you, and that's how you're going to be unique and special, and that's what's going to get people checking out your content instead of someone else. So I use a simple wax that I get from Walmart a few times per month, and I don't even know what it's called, but
and his hair wasn't like this when he had that beard. So you guys need to go check him out. How his hair was with that beard, and then tell him I prefer it this way, definitely. So I'm sure most people prefer it this way. But personally, let's ask you, now that you're in the social media world, I know you love IG, but then is it Instagram or is it TikTok? Like, what would you prefer more?
I like Instagram. I actually started on TikTok. That was my big my kind of claim to fame. I had about 100,000 followers on TikTok very quickly. I haven't used it since June in terms of creating content anymore, just because I think Instagram has everything. I think it has, and they've done an amazing job giving us all these features. I'd like to have them everywhere, obviously. But if we look at IG Shops, perfect for businesses, right? Yeah. Reels, super fun for people who are using it for just their friends and family, and tons of overlap in between. It is the one size fits all platform, I think, that gives us tons of opportunities. And like I said, over 3 billion people use Instagram. So I say go for it. This is my platform of choice and will be for a while.
Well, I thank you so much, Lucas. Oh my God. I think I have never enjoyed an IG Live as much as I have this, because this audience is so great. And
this audience is amazing.
That's because of you. Nobody's come to speak with me here.
So, no, your questions. Thank you so much for those amazing questions. That was awesome. And I think, like, in terms of, I've never seen a consistent audience like that. Like, usually my numbers are like, they fluctuate down, then up, and down, then up. This means that people are sticking around, and those were amazing questions. So thank you to everybody, and thank you.
Well, thank you, Lucas. And I would like to tell everybody that please do go and check out his page. There are lots of tips and tricks over there to help you grow. And Lucas is one of those very, very few people. I would say I've been almost 7 to 8 years now on Instagram, and I have never met someone who is willing to help you so soon with every question of yours. So do please message him, buy his content calendar. That is going to be one of the best investments you can do for yourself. So do go and do that. And would you like to tell us anything else? How can we all just poof, like, grow our Instagram accounts overnight?
I think community is the way to do it, and everybody here has been a perfect example of that, whether it's your community or my community or the overlap there. So thank you to everybody. Communities are how Instagrams really grow and gain that momentum. So thank you.
Thank you. And Trapti Rai, I know you've been saying this a lot. He is so handsome and kind. He's
Thank you.
he's actually one of the most good looking people I've had on my IG. So I think Lucas will definitely need to see more of you. But please do
For
follow
sure.
him, and you can go stalk him on his on his account now.
Thank you, everybody.
Lucas.
Have a great day.
You
Thank you.
too. Thanks. Bye. Okay, guys, so I hope you enjoyed that. I absolutely loved it. And thank you so much to Lucas, for doing this session with me. Thank you all, everyone, for all your questions. That was so good. Seema, Lucas, we need to see more of you. Yes, we do. And if there are any more questions, please go and reach out to Lucas. For those who are following me and who want to see, oh, Vishal is saying, oh, snaps, Neha, all your previous guests just cried a little. Well, I think they did, especially the women. But if anyone wants to know something that has helped me, like Lucas's tips that have helped me, then please reach out to me personally, and I can tell you how and why they have helped me. And for Lucas's page, someone was asking me his page. I will put it up in my stories. I will link it there. So please do go and check it out. This is going to be put up on my YouTube soon. Hopefully by today, by tomorrow, as soon as my husband is free to edit it a little bit. So I will share the link as well. Do go check it out. And I am so happy to meet so many new people. Vishal, it was lovely to meet you and to get to know your humor. Birdie Learning Academy, thank you for all your questions. And if there's anything else someone would like to say, to ask, there are lots of actually coaches on here. I'm sure they've left now, but I'm really hoping this helped everyone. So thank you all so much, and stay connected, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.